RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
Oh my lord. Sorry. What the hell? I don't know what's going on. There's gremlins in the machine. Every time. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Hal. Hal, the sparklers? See, I almost forgot what you were called. What I'm called, I should say, because I am a sparkler myself. And I thank you for the raid. And it was fun last week. And it's fun again. So thank you. And of course, what happened was, as soon as I started the show, the damn restream wasn't connected to YouTube, and I got all these weird messages. I don't touch anything during the week, okay? So, and that's what she said, right? But I just don't know why that happened. It's always something in this world. It's been a lot today. We have a lot to talk about. And thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the sparklers for being here. I'm just checking everything. And we're also streaming on Substack, on the Political Voices Substack. So that's good too. And I will be, I got to ask Hal about this too. There has to be a way, and I think because he knows all this stuff. I got to get all those bells and whistles that he has on his show. But there has to be a way for me to merge the chats of Substack and YouTube. So, I'm not just reading off of the YouTube chat and neglecting the Substack. But I got to ask him about that. But just for now, I'm kind of focusing on the Substack chat. If you're on YouTube, not Substack, on YouTube chat. If you're on Substack, I'm at youtube.com/StifaChannel/Tarabuster. And the other, there's some good things. There's some not so good things. Whatever. Not so good. It's fucking, I can't even believe it today. Well, I was watching Hal's show, and I just can't believe what we have to endure. And he was playing Melania. Melania is now negotiating with Putin. Where do we live? Is this real life? On some level, I understand why people tune out, but I've never been like that. I could never tune out. Especially, I do feel like we have a patriotic imperative to save this country from the fascists. So, I don't know about you, but I think you feel the same, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be watching Hal's show and then come over to my show on a Friday night. This is what we've been doing for how many years now, Jim and Redfoot, who are the moderators in the chat room. They've been with me a long time. Long time. So, yeah, and we've been talking about this a long time, that, we definitely have our work cut out for us. Hold on a second. I want to put the lower third up. And if you can, please become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Let me see, what is this? I'm trying to change my screen. Oh, not that one. Just trying to put my name up. But it's not working. All right. Let's see. It's okay. You know who I am. Right? Okay. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Just a couple of housekeeping things. I just want to say Charlie is a great guy. And listen. He's got a channel, APS Radio. And sometimes you just want to listen to some classical music or some oldies and classic rock. There's two channels, APS Classical, and the other one is APS Radio. Put that on, APS Radio, and you can, all day, classic rock and oldies to, the soundtrack of your memories. That's what I say. Soundtrack of my memories. I'm older, but what's the alternative, right? When people say, I'm old, what's the alternative? Who cares being old? We should be proud of every damn day we're above ground, because we will be sleeping a long time. And frankly, when I think about fighting fascism, my second thought is we'll sleep when we're dead. Right? We have a lot of work to do. Our work is cut out for us. But thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News, for all you do to keep this show going and growing and to make the world a better place, including donating to the community cats. That's what I do in another life. I take care of some community cats, and Charlie helps do that, let's say. Where is I'm trying to find, shit's not working. It is just not oh, I know why it's not working. I realized. Because my damn hard drive isn't plugged in. That's why. I have this faulty hard drive. It was Boudica, my little booty boo, that did that. She effed me over by knocking the hard drive off, and now it doesn't work. So I had to get a new hard drive, and I'm transferring everything over. There she goes, Boudica. All right. What else? Oh, yeah, become a patron, patreon.com/TaraDevlin. And please, if you can, subscribe to my Substack. I'm writing a lot of articles and doing videos, and there will be more stuff to come in the future. Also, I think that Tarabuster, this show, is going to be on the Political Voices Network during the week as well. So that'll be nice. Remember the other show I did? The Tara show? That one, unfortunately, is no more. I hate to say it. But I will probably be in it. Long story. When we get together one day in a meetup or something, I'll tell you the whole story. But for now, let's just put a pin in it. But nothing bad, nothing too bad, but no hard feelings and all that. But it's, whew. All right. Listen, what was I saying? Yeah, I don't want to go down that road. But everyone's on the same team, so everybody be nice. What am I doing here? Okay, where do we begin? That's why I asked you to become a subscriber to my Substack, because I'm writing a lot of articles. One of the articles, that I wrote tonight, it's not published yet, but I was thinking about what we've witnessed this whole week. Now, you know what really concerns me? And we talked a little bit with Hal about this. Yes. Oh, look, I could see you on Discord. We want to meet the cats. Yes. Well, I have to tell you, Francis is sleeping up there, and I had to put his cone back on. It's just this long ass wound that he has. He had to have something removed. Became whatever. He had some kind of skin infection. Had to be removed, and then he was in a cone for the longest time. I finally took the cone off him. And then today, I guess it was bothering him again. It's not quite 100% healed. And he destroyed it. Let's put it that way. And he's back in the cone. It sucks. And I'm very concerned. It's taking forever for this thing to heal. But, yeah, it sucks. All right, so what did we witness this week besides everything else that sucks? Of course, today, the little titty baby, Traitor Trump, didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, boo fucking who. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve the Peace Prize. No one who sent a mob of traitors to storm the Capitol and defecate and urinate in the halls of the citadel of democracy deserves a Peace Prize. No one who turns the military against their own people deserves the Peace Prize. I guess, but the baboon and all of his enablers don't seem to understand this, these whiny little bitches. But they're all liars. They're all traitors. Every single Republican at this point, voting Republican is, I mean, it really is an act of somebody who hates this country. I hate to say it, and I'm sick of it. What we want to talk about tonight, I want to talk about the not just the oversight hearing, but what they went on about Antifa, the Antifa meeting, the special meeting they had in the White House with the cabinet of freaks and curiosities about Antifa. And and the other thing I want to talk about is Marjorie Taylor Green going on about health care now. And all right, we'll get there one step at a time. So the Antifa special meeting about Antifa, we should be concerned about what we're witnessing, because this is right out of the fascist playbook. And earlier in the day, oh damn, I forgot about the music. Here's the music for the progressive voices. Hold on, it's a little loud. This is Tara Devlin. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with, for those who don't know, because we have a lot of new people here from Substack and Hal's and the Sparklers. That's because on Sunday, this show is played on Sunday on the Progressive Voices app, and those are the music cues where I have to cut the show because they add commercials. So I have to give them a show that is in pieces. So, all right, just so you know. When that happens, we'll say, we'll be right back, but we're not really going anywhere, and we'll stay right here. So what we're witnessing with this maladministration going on about this invisible threat of Antifa is incredibly concerning. And earlier in the day, I was asked to be on another Substack show, which is great, and it was the Anti-Fascist Book Club, and it's on Substack. I'm just trying to get the exact address. And you guys should also, I think, follow it. Where the heck is it? I'll put it in the channel that runs it is Banner and Backbone, the Anti-Fascist Book Club. And now we're going through Tim Schneider's On Tyranny. And if you haven't read it, please do. Everyone should read it. I read it years ago when it came out, and it's only gotten worse. In fact, Tim Snyder right now is not even in the United States. He's living in Toronto because he says that we have to have an outside resistance, and we're in the stage where academics just might get rounded up. You never know. Let's not have a failure of an imagination here. This is what happens in every authoritarian country. We are witnessing it, and what we saw, and this is what's there's so many levels to this, because when the corporate media has completely failed us, they have, I don't know if you've watched the corporate media, I often do like a sociological experiment, or just to study it, and watch it with an active mind, an open mind. Of course, I know you do, but they not one corporate media pundit, and there are a few that I like, of course, like Nicole Wallace is good, Rachel Maddow, of course, Lawrence O'Donnell is great, Chris Hayes I love, but I didn't hear any of them call out just the sinister way, just the sinister intentions of a regime that completely makes up a ubiquitous threat against the people. Antifa is not an organization. Trump declared it a domestic terrorist group. They put something on the White House website. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but this is not about reality. This is about making the American people afraid while they bring democracy to its knees. Basically, that's what they're doing. The fact is, Antifa is, and this is what Joe Biden said, I remember during the debate. I think it was during that disastrous debate. And in the oversight hearing, where Pam Bondi disgraced herself, where she acted like a 12-year-old girl in a lunchroom argument, and showed such disrespect, not just to the senators, but to the American people. This is the underlying, stench of republicanism, of this horrible timeline that we're on. That they have no respect for not the Democrats, but for the American people. That's who they're at war with. They're not at war with blue states. They're at war with America, with the American people. And the fact that Pam Bondi screaming, and you notice how she was quite different during her confirmation hearing. This is because Republicans can't be trusted. And Pam Bondi is worse than Ghislaine Maxwell, frankly, isn't she? Because all of what we're witnessing, all of these antics, all of the fake terrorist group bullshit, is to cover up for the fact that their standard bearer and a hell of a lot of their donors shared so-called wonderful secrets with a convicted pedophile. We know, you better believe it. Traitor Trump is all over the Epstein files. You know that. Because look at the way they're behaving. All of the political backlash from their own base to cover up the fact that their standard bearer is a child rapist. And they don't give a shit. Mike Johnson, he pretends to be a Christian. When is Christianity boiled down to protecting pedophiles and monitoring the masturbation habits of your son? These people are sick. And worse, they're making America sick. You see, America is too big for them. That's why when Democrats, I wish the Democrats would listen to this show, right, Jim? We talk about it all the time because they need to get a clue. They need to get some talking points and start fighting. It doesn't include Chuck Schumer saying the F word. That's not good enough, Chuck. And he does seem like he's not really the man for this moment. You know? Oh, that's fucking whatever he said in that video. Ooh, Chuck, I really believe you're a fighter now. He needs to resign. Or step down for leadership, I should say. And goddamn Jeffries, too. If they can't listen to this show, and what I'm talking about is they don't have to listen to this show. I mean, listen to Hal. Get some balls, frankly. Get a spine. Get some talking points. You know, when I was watching this Pam Bondi bitch, this pedophile protecting sociopath, scream about Antifa. That's what she said during one of her, because everything was just, she had a burn book in front of her and everything was, well, you did this and you did that. I mean, that is right out of the fascist playbook. That's right out of Putin, too. You know, whataboutism. Yes. Exactly. Errol says, try to get AOC to listen to your show. Yeah, I should. I asked her to come on the show once and she said no. She was my representative. I got turned down by her people, not her. But now the show's a little bigger, and then when the show is on Political Voices Network during the week, she can come on there because they have a bigger audience. Until we get this audience up to Political Voices levels, network levels, that'd be great. That would be my dream. And thank you for helping me get there. That's great. Because this is what we have to do. And I've said it earlier on the Banner and Backbone show, the Anti-Fascist Book Club, this is how we're going to win. It's not just me. The voices like me. Political voices, progressive voices, everywhere the American people go, when they go on YouTube, when they go on Twitch, when they go on other, Substack or Twitter or anywhere, they need to encounter our message. And that's how we're going to win. And this is what the Republicans knew for years. That's why they beat us so far. That's why they're in power illegitimately, frankly. Hold on. We'll be right back. Oh. Thank you. I see. I just made a clip. This is Cosmic Rose. How you doing? Thank you. I just made a Twitch clip for you about the corporate media and Antifa. We got to talk. You got to show me what you're doing here. That's great. I was incredibly busy today, so I didn't see everything, but I saw your message earlier, and thank you for making that clip. I'll check it out. And if you're not on the Discord, if you're not following the Tarabuster Discord page, that you should do that. I don't want to be pushy, just because then you can message me, directly. So that'd be good. But the fact that, so this is what should have happened when Pam Bondi was screaming at the Democrats about Antifa. I don't understand, and maybe somebody on the chat can answer this question. Why don't the Democrats address it? It's just, you don't have to take a lot of time out of the window of time that you have. Just say, Antifa is not an organization; it's an idea, and move on. Because the American people don't know that, right? Thank you, Stacy, on the chat. I can't comment. All I can say is thank you. But because here's the thing. We are living in two disparate realities, unfortunately. Right-wingers are living in their own world. We had, at one time, we all consumed the same sources of information. And they were trusted sources that had standards, like CBS, Edward R. Murrow. The days of Edward R. Murrow are long behind us. Walter Cronkite. These are trusted sources. Since the Telecommunications Act, of course, our country has been torn apart by misinformation. It was always going to end this way. And unfortunately, what really irritates me when they would ask Bill Clinton about this, I've seen this before because it would bother me. For example, one time when Hillary was running for office for the presidency, they asked her about something, and then she went off on Fox News. And what bothered me is that no one connects the dots. There would be no Fox News without the Telecommunications Act of '96. And when they asked Bill Clinton about it, he said, oh, well, and what they always say, that no one predicted. No one could have predicted it. Bullshit. No one predicted it. Oh, I thought it's Tara Jr. No one predicted it. I predicted, not just me, but in my undergrad communications classes, we predicted it because we were talking about it. I was in college at the time when that happened, and this is what we were saying. It was going to be a disaster for the country, that it's another assault on a pillar of democracy. And here we are. And the FCC used to exist, and people used to understand this, that the FCC existed to protect these pillars of democracy. That's why you couldn't own a radio station and a TV station and a newspaper in the same market, because it would be detrimental to democracy. Now, those laws, those regulations are going by the wayside. And getting worse. What happened with Jimmy Kimmel is a part of that whole assault, because ABC is trying, ABC, Disney, they're trying to get the FCC to overturn even more. They're trying to get them to deregulate even more, to allow them to gobble up more, more platforms, a larger piece of the megaphone. And the fact that the American people, when Jimmy Kimmel was put back on air, and half the country, or whatever it was, a significant portion of the country couldn't watch his show because a couple of billionaires were still stubbornly preventing it. How dare they, you see? And no one in the corporate media, of course, pointed it out. Like, wait a minute. This is not freedom. We're not free if a couple of billionaires control our, the platforms, control the soapboxes that people get to stand on. This is a problem. And it's another example why billionaires shouldn't exist. And I actually wrote an article on the Political Voices Network about it. But these are the underlying conditions. Without, it's like someone with cancer not being, told not to smoke cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? We can trace our problems back to some of the things. I don't know. It seems pretty obvious to me. Billionaires shouldn't exist, and we have to actively and unapologetically protect the pillars of democracy. I don't know. What do you think? And owning and consolidated media is partly why we're in this boat, and they've done studies about this. We went over this on the show before. We've read through these studies that the divided country, we can trace our divided country back to the Telecommunications Act. Of course, it makes sense. What did the Nazis do? The first thing they did, how did they finally come to power? Well, we know it started with one of their benefactors, a rich benefactor, bought up a newspaper in Nazi Germany, and they started spreading their filth through and then it went to the radio, and then so this is, people are storytellers. Human beings are storytellers. Where are they coming up with this shit? They're not pulling it out of their ass. They're not doing their own research. They're listening to people tell them what's real, what's not real, and Trump is a fucking liar. And what I don't understand, that's another mystery for the ages that they'll be studying long after we're all, sleeping for a long time, is how anybody can look at Trump and say that guy should represent me in the halls of power, that guy is somebody that I could trust. That guy's in control of the truth. Think about how spectacularly how the Democrats failed. I don't mean to beat on the Democrats. The reason I'm doing it is because I want them to improve. We need them to get better. We need them to get better at the message. I'm not trying to, they're our only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi, for real. At this point, that's the system we have. They need to get better at messaging, and they need to, the American people don't give a shit about, what they care is people who fight for them. You have to have the courage of your convictions, but if you have no convictions, then where's your courage? This is why we've had to deal with this, with them enabling Trump in a lot of ways, too. And, okay, I lost my train of thought. But what was I saying? Yeah. All right, let me hold on a second. Let me go to this article. There's so many things. This is the problem. There's so many things that want to come out of my mouth. That's what she said. They all want to come out at the same time. Yeah, they joined a cult, as Jim said. They joined a cult that celebrates ignorance. They're not going to reason their way out. It's so true. It's so true. How can you look at a tax-cheating, draft-dodging, wannabe dictator con man with a fake university, a multi-level marketing vitamin scam, a history of sexual assault, and say that's a guy that I could trust? Somewhere in Trump's entire useless, wasted existence, there would be an example of him doing something for the benefit of somebody else, wouldn't there? Like Bernie. We could see that in his history. That when he wasn't a politician, he was out there fighting for people, helping people, trying to make the world a better place. Before he was a senator, he was a representative, he would drive organized buses to go to Canada to buy medicine for, people on fixed incomes and elderly and what. I mean, that's the kind of person he is. There's a history of him helping other. Oh, Jesus Christ. Tara Jr. He's pulling my headset off. I'm sorry. We can't have that, producer. Say goodnight. Mwah, mwah. Go lay down. Go lay down. Enough. I don't know if you could see that. He's like, I'm trying to talk, and he's like, all right. So, all right. What was I saying? So this effing antics. And I'll put my screen up. Hold on a second. This is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Unapologetic liberal talk. We'll be right back. And we are back. Oh, that's fancy. Look at that. I had a nice subscribe little video. Yes. Okay. So I wrote this article. It's not up on the Political Voices network yet, but this is the feeling when I was watching the oversight committee hearing. Honestly, I guess the word of the day is shocked. When I was on the Banner and Backbone show, I kept saying, I'm shocked. And others were like, I don't know why you're shocked. But I don't know. It is shocking to watch. There's so many shocking things to watch. The antics, the disgrace, the disrespect. And the other thing that's shocking is, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have the wrong take on this, because I'm yelling at the TV. Come on, Dems. Push back a little bit. I know she acts like an ass, and you want to make a contrast. But you have to at least correct some of her lies, like when they went on about Antifa. Well, just say, Antifa's not a thing. This is an attempt to, it's not just an attempt to distract the American people from the Epstein files. This is a pretext for waging war against the American people. That's what they're doing. That's what he's doing. Why isn't this working? Okay. So, Pam Bondi, when I was writing, she not only debased herself, she accused Senator Mazie Hirono of associating with Antifa demonstrators. The goal is to paint every peaceful protest as proof of a monstrous domestic terrorist group exists. And Antifa is not a thing. So, let me play this video. Hold on. My mouse isn't working. This really made me sick right here.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for hosting today.
This is Kristi Noem, the puppy killing bitch. Kristi Noem. She's not only puppy killing, I'm sorry, she also killed a goat because she was so filled with bloodlust after killing the puppy for no good reason. She said she was doing the hard things. She can make those hard decisions. Well, it's not hard to drag a puppy to a gravel pit and shoot it in the head. You know what's hard, bitch? Either training the puppy to be the hunting dog you want him to be, or bringing him to a shelter if you're just that much, put upon. If he's not working out for you, bring him to a shelter. How about that? That's the hard things to do. Maybe find a decent home for him. You don't drag it to a gravel pit while kids are getting off a bus and shoot it in the head. And then you go, well, where's that goat that I hate? She said, oh, well, the goat was bothering her children. Well, what were your children, your brats, doing in the pen with the goat, if that's the case? It sounds more that the goat, your children were bothering the goat. How about you train them? You teach them to be decent people, not sociopaths with the bloodlust. But they're sociopaths. There's something wrong with them. I don't know if you've ever looked in their eyes, but we've done it, and it's terrifying. They have dead eyes. And Kristi Noem is one of them. You have to be a sociopath to behave like this, because they don't care. They don't care about America. America has actual problems. You know, people are losing their health care, right? This is what makes me sick, literally and figuratively. People in this country need health care. It's effing disgusting. We're the only country in the developed world, and pretty much the whole world, that allows our citizens to go to needlessly die or go bankrupt when they get sick. And that's, to me, is unacceptable. But to Republicans, that's just okay. That's great. That's business as usual, because a few people get very rich sucking on our tumors and shit. That's all that matters to Republicans. In this country, greed is the only value. I don't know what happened to e pluribus unum. What happened to pledging your life, fortune, and sacred honor to each other? Right? What happened? Could you imagine if, we just gave the very progressive writings of the founders, and it's not I'm not saying the founders were perfect, of course. As we know, they were they owned human beings, and they were hypocrites who wrote all men are created equal, and they meant all men, all white property owning men. That's what a man was to them. But regardless, they gave us an incredibly progressive blueprint that was inspired by the liberal age of enlightenment. And the more we get closer to that, to actualizing those promises, that's when Republicans want to throw the whole damn thing out the window. They don't care. They don't want it. They never liked democracy. I've been saying it for years. They never liked it. Wait, I'm trying to move my camera over. Here we go. They don't like it. They don't like e pluribus unum. They don't like, pledge your life, fortune, and sacred honor. If we put that in front of them today, they would all flip the fuck out about it, wouldn't they? This is woke. This is DEI, isn't it? Pledging your life, fortune, and sacred honor to somebody else? Greed and selfishness. That's all they have. They're just selfish to a fault. And I always been saying for years, why don't you just fuck off to a desert island then? But they want all the benefits of civilization, and they just don't want the responsibilities that we have to each other. They want to suck on us like the parasites they are. And, they just want that. But they don't like to share, even though human beings are interdependent. They want it all. They're sick. This is a sickness, because it's not normal for a few people to have everything, while so many people have nothing and so little. It's a moral and spiritual sickness that the Republican Party, that's their platform. Spiritual sickness. That's why they have to pretend to love Jesus. And I'm so glad that John Fugelsang wrote that book, The Separation of Church and Hate. It certainly is timely, and everybody needs to read it, because we got to take that back too. Take back Christianity and shove it in their faces. These people are not Christians. I was raised Christian, so I know a little bit about it. And like John, my mother was a nun. Not that means I'm more Christian or what, but I was raised in a religious household, and I just don't, you can't see Jesus. You hear about Jesus, but you just never see it on them, do you? They got to tell you how much they love Jesus all the time, but they just never show you. That's what's so baffling. Somebody who hung out with a bunch of hippies, I don't know, well, I guess they could say they weren't hippies. Who cares if they were hippies? But he gave out free health care, and he was kind to people, and he said things like, it's easier for the rich to go through the eye of a needle than it is for them to get into heaven. What does that mean? That means they can't get into heaven. That means you can't take it with you, booby. And if you're hoarding all the earthly rewards while your fellow humans are suffering, shame on you. That's what it means. Yet, we got Baboon, the baboon in chief, and everybody around him, Elon Musk. You know, this is what's so gross about this time. That we've had, who was that guy in the chat room a couple of weeks ago? One of these, when Ellie Leonard was on the show. And right before she came on, some guy was in the chat. Well, I'm a, you know, like licking billionaire balls as if whoever, a billionaire, was going to trickle in their mouth or something. I don't understand how people think that we have whatever benefits, whatever little things like a weekend or an 8-hour workday or living wages if you're lucky enough and whatnot. But, you know, the sick leave or, you know, if you're lucky enough. Because they think that they came from the graciousness of our betters. A billionaire felt like trickling it on them, which, of course, is not the case. But if we ever get this country back, one of the things we have to do is teach this shit. We got to teach young people. You know, Trump is like, oh, I want to teach patriotic education. What a hellscape. You know what he's talking about. He's just talking about some cartoonish bullshit about, you know, where enslaved people were gracious and grateful to learn how to be blacksmiths. That's all they ever talk about. Learn how to be blacksmiths. Hold on. But if you ever read actual contemporary accounts, read, I don't even want to get into it because it makes me sick. We talked about it on the show once. Oh God, I can't remember his name now. I gotta look it up. The tortures that this one particular person who owned slave, you know, good rich white person, but the tortures of, I gotta look this up while I'm, because it's just beyond, it's beyond reason what other human beings can do to each other. You know, it's not just about, hey, let me teach you how to be a blacksmith. These fucking people, I mean, they have this cartoonish view of reality. And, you know, they just need help. Okay, let me play this. Let me play this, please. Okay, so for those listening audio only, this is so-called Secretary of Homeland Security at a surrealistic nightmare Cabinet of Curiosity event called the Antifa Roundtable, so-called Antifa Roundtable. They're going to figure out how to save us from this threat.
Focusing on Antifa and the terrorists that they are. Let's not make any mistake. These individuals do not just want to threaten our law enforcement officers, threaten our journalists, and the citizens of this country. They want to kill them. Their agenda is to destroy the American people and our way of life, and this president is standing in their way. He is stopping them from bringing their death and their destruction to the individual citizens in this country that just want to raise their kids and their grandkids in peace and in safety. I want to also thank everyone around this table for being so bold and so brave, for standing up and recognizing the threat that Antifa is to our way of life. By recognizing how advanced they are, how sophisticated their networks are, how they've infiltrated our entire country, and we're seeing them play out with their tactics from city to city, and how they have built out.
You know what's so fucking irritating? It's like she makes my skin crawl because of her monotone delivery too. They all have that. They all have that irritating drone to their voice. I'm sure people might say I don't exactly sound like a chorus of angels myself, but She's got there's something very disturbing about the way she speaks. She's talking about all these horrific things. Of course, she's lying. Antifa is not an organized network that's going to kill you. It's not a network. There's no headquarters. There's no place where you can send your dues. There's no leader. It's just so fucked up that they're doing this to us. Because what it says is that they're waging war against the American people. That's what it says. Everything is an excuse to crack down on Antifa. There's Antifa. You're Antifa. There goes Antifa. Fuck that Antifa. Stop Antifa. We're stopping Antifa. That's it. Everybody's Antifa. They are so the enemies of the people. These people. They're so against the American experiment. They hate this country. They hate the Constitution. We're supposed to be safe in our persons, place, and effects and all that. Our papers, our person, our homes. There's a reason the founders put that into the Constitution. Because they lived in a world where a big daddy can do whatever the fuck he wants. That's the kind of system that human beings were under for thousands of years. All intertwined with church and state. The church telling the people that don't rise up against your betters because that's the way God made them. If God wanted you to rule, he would have made you rich. And don't worry, your rewards will come in heaven. So don't pester your betters for a decent life. Just await your rewards in heaven. And if you rise up against the king, you're rising up against God, because God put them there. This is where we're going. Make no mistake, I'm telling you, that's why they whittle away the wall of separation between church and state. They go after education, everything that makes a country a modern democratic society. They hate. They hate it. That's why they're after DEI and all this shit under the guise of it's racist to give a shit. It's racist to actually address our problems. When we have our fellow Americans are having an entirely different American experience. And they say, hey, we're hurting. We need to talk. It's like in a relationship. What do Republicans say? Everybody's hurting. We're hurting. They dismiss it because they don't want to resolve our problems. They don't care. They want this country, at each other's throats so they can steal. That's it. Make it easier to steal. And you hear Ray? Ray! This is what he does when he plays with his fish toy. So, that's what they want. They want to make it easier to steal and make it impossible for us to do anything about it. This is the game plan. It's to drag us back to the system the founders fought a revolution to escape. And I wrote another article about this on Political Voices Network. And really, we talked about this on John Fugelsang's show, where if you put in, and try it yourself, put in the policies, the Republican policies that they propose. What are they? Low taxes on the rich, deregulation, women know their place, no abortion, no social safety net. Stop me when I'm wrong. Gays are in the closet, no trans people, of course. Military eats up the budget, no government schools, all that. You get Pakistan. That's what you get. The church and state intertwined. That's what they want. That's the country they're bringing us to. Except with more Jesus, be a little bit more Jesus-y. But they're turning America into Pakistan. You want to live in Pakistan? I don't think so. This is what the Democrats have to talk about. They have to call it out when they're going on about Antifa and it's all over the news. If the American people don't hear any pushback, what are they going to assume? You know, right now there are Fox News victims / viewers who actually think Chicago's a smoldering ruin. So is Portland. That's what they think. That's what they're hearing. They don't know any different. They don't know any better. They're not getting their information from any other sources but these right-wing liars that have an agenda. And the agenda is to step on their necks. Step on these people's goddamn necks. That's what makes me sick. For people who are so in tune to conspiracy theories, they don't see the conspiracies right in front of their freaking faces. But listen, let's continue listening to Puppy Killer, Goat Killer.
Their funding mechanisms. And, sir, I also want to thank our Treasury Secretary for his work in getting to the bottom of these funding mechanisms and individuals who are perpetuating this violence on our American cities. I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town, and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets.
Okay.
While you talked about some of the stories of our ICE agents, our Border Patrol agents,
you see, because
how
she really not manipulate. She just embarrassed herself. She was staring down, apparently, because she has right wingers following her. This Benny Johnson, Kremlin asset, this right wing influencer who took money from the Kremlin to spread pro-Trump bullshit. And you would think anybody who's a patriot would say, "Oh shit, he said he was duped." Right? But when you find out that you're a useless idiot for a democracy-loathing dictator, well, I know they love Putin though, but and you find out you're taking money to say the things about Trump that you would say for free anyway, because you're a dumbass, and you would say, you know, wouldn't I take that as a cue to look at yourself and go, wow, why am I being paid to spread pro-Trump propaganda? Why is Putin so interested in putting Trump and making sure Trump is the damn president? And why is he so adamant about Trump's policies in America? Is it because he wants to make America great again? I don't think so. It's because he can destroy America without firing a shot. But I don't know about you, but this lady here, Kristi Noem, puppy killing, as Mike Malloy calls her, puffy lips. Puffy lips, puppy killing. My glass is a cricket. She sounds, it sounds horrific out there. What the hell is going on out there? Well, what happened was when she was being filmed staring down on protesters, supposedly, she was staring down on the smoldering ruin of Portland. And when the camera turned around, it was a bunch of cops standing around and a guy in a chicken suit. So she's got to say, oh, they're lying. Well, how are they lying? People in Portland, as Jimmy Kimmel had on his show, they're filming what's going on. Nothing's going on. They're going about their business. They're going about their lives. Except the MAGAts, ICE, and the National Guard and all this are coming to disrupt it. Kristi Noem is there to disrupt people's lives. They're not there to help people. These people hate this country. Do you realize that? I know you do. But every now and then it hits me. I'm like, wow, they really hate this country. And I'm not just being hyperbolic. I'm not just saying it, you know, because it's you know, I'm on this podcast here. It's the truth. How do you justify? How else do you explain their behavior? They hate this country. They don't give a shit if they tear this country apart. You know, people who love America don't lie to the people of America, their fellow citizens, their fellow Americans. If they're in a position of trust, a position of power and authority in the government that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, you don't abuse the power. It's, as I said, a position of trust. And you, if you respect your fellow Americans and you want them to have a successful environment from which to live and pursue happiness, you don't lie. You don't tell them shit's on fire. You don't tell them that they're under attack, they're under assault. That's what's so awful about these Republicans, besides everything else, is that they rob people of their lives, the small blip of time that we share together on this timeline, on this fucked up timeline. Then these people, these MAGAts, are robbing us of our serenity. We don't want to have to deal with this. That's why our ancestors, stormed the beaches of Normandy. They gave their last full measure of devotion so we could have a nice life. But the Republicans are taking that away. They're spitting in the face of that sacrifice. That's what pisses me off, too. For all their, loving the troops and loving America, they got this baboon humping a flag. That flag needs to press charges, for fuck's sake. And so do we. But they rob us of our serenity. And I think I told you guys before the story. You remember that we're going on about the caravan? The caravans were coming to kill us. Years ago, when Mike Malloy had a get-together, and I went down to Georgia and to meet some of the fellow truth seekers, right? And one of the women I was talking to, I said, it was at the time of one of the bullshits about the caravan, and that they were coming to kill us and all. And I was like, who believes this shit? And she said, she was telling me her mother does. So her mother is a Trumpanzee, or was a Trump. I mean, this was in the first maladministration. And her mother, who lives in New Jersey, not even a border state, well away from the border, was upset and afraid. She literally, this is what the lady said, that she actually thought that a caravan of people were going to kill her. And she was afraid. And I felt bad. I felt so bad for this woman, that this monstrosity of a human being, this effing con man, was such a piece of shit that he would rob this old lady of her serenity. In her, in her golden years, she's trying to enjoy the rest of her life, what's left of her life, and this bitch, this orange bitch, is stealing her peace of mind. This is what I'm talking about. This is what Republicans do. They don't bring anything to the table. They don't help the American people. I mean, stop me when I'm wrong. For real. I wish, and I have said it for years on the show. Give me something that Republicans have done, or a bill, anything, that help the American people, that help somebody, other than the rich. And they're filthy fascist liars. And that's what we're witnessing. To make up the threat, it's like the eternal Jew, right? Right out of the Nazi playbook. What was the eternal Jew? It was this ubiquitous threat that was everywhere. And the Jews were sinister, and they were controlling everything. That's the same thing with Antifa, except we're all Antifa. Antifa is such a perfect umbrella to put people under. But you never see Antifa. Where's Antifa? Who's the leader? Where do I send my dues? And that's what the Democrats have to say. Where's Antifa? Who? Where? What? Where's the headquarters? Where's the, okay, well, she goes on about they arrested the girlfriend of the co-founder. Let's listen.
And attacked, how they have been shot at, injured, the damage that they've done. These leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on.
You're a liar, Kristi Noem. And if all of this is happening to these poor put-upon ICE Nazis, these Gestapos, these cowardly bastards who I hope I live to see the day of accountability for them, and legally and peacefully, of course. But where's the video? I mean, everybody's got video. And that's when Pritzker says to get out your camera, record everything. This is what we have to do, guys. And we also have to remember to stay entirely peaceful, no matter what, because they're trying to goad us into any kind of violent assault and or violent response, and that's what they'll use as an excuse to do what they want to do. He wants to activate the Insurrection Act. Well, he's going to do it. I guess we could say that it's at least they're pulling the Band-Aid off quick enough, but more fun ahead, truthfully.
They're helping Antifa cover it up. We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them.
Really?
And I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again. Where?
Hold on. We'll be right back. This is Tara Devlin. This is all public record. You go to court. That's how a lot of newspapers get their stories. They hang out at the court and they read the docket. All of this shit is public record. Where's all the arrests? Where's the Antifa being arrested? This is all bullshit coming out of their filthy lie holes.
They have been so bold in making sure we're bringing those individuals to justice. One of the individuals we arrested recently in Portland was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa.
Oh, wow. You got Bonnie? You got Bonnie to this ubiquitous, unknown, invisible founder of Antifa? This is what I'm talking about. Well, we'll show him. Who is it? Who's the founder? We all thought it was like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. We would get our marching orders. All of a sudden the phone would ring and we'd say, yes, sir, yeah, sir. It was like that. And then we go out and we'd get our chicken suits and shit. But where is he? Where's Antifa? You finally unmasked him. Where is it? Show us. Because it's such bullshit. Do they actually think that people believe them? Yes, well, some do, like that woman's mother from New Jersey. But do they think that this is what is also disturbing, that the way that they're behaving is it's as if they know they're never going to leave. And trust me, like Michael Cohen said the first time, that if traitor Trump loses the election, there will not be a peaceful transfer of power. He's not leaving. The only way he's leaving is in a body bag, legally and peacefully. For real. There's no way he wants to leave. I mean, you saw what he did to the Oval Office. Every time they go, and every day when we get the footage, when he has another poor leader from another country sit there, and we have to endure the embarrassment of having him as a so-called president. as we watch him embarrass this country and in front of the world. There's more golden filigrees and bullshit behind his back all over the Oval Office. It looks like shit. He looks like a gaudy, I don't even know. It's like a golden outlet of, like, from some, I don't even know, like some, a failed casino. Did somebody give him a bedazzler with golden filigree? And it looks shitty and cheap and plastic. Well, when that great gutting up morning comes, when Trader Trump is no longer part of our mortal plane, and all of these MAGAts are getting the justice they deserved and that they earned, I can't wait till all that shit comes off the wall of the Oval Office. So ugly. But here we go. Here, listen.
We go after her, interview her, and prosecute her, we will get more and more information about the network and how we can root them out and eliminate them from the existence of American society. I want to thank the new journalists here today for telling their
The new journalists, you know who they're talking about, the Russian-funded propagandists, the liars, the new journalists, the ones who start every question with, "How can I lick your balls more, sir? Can your balls end? And can the whole set fit in my mouth, sir?" Unbelievable, right? Sir. That's what they're talking about, new journalists. The people who aren't journalists at all. They're not journalists. These are stenographers. They're propagandists. They're Sturmer. If this were Nazi Germany, if this were the 30s, they would be writing for Der Sturmer, and what was the other one? The people, the Volks something. I don't know what it is in German, but it's the people something. You know what I'm saying? The Nazi rags. And they would be wearing brown shirts. And I guess the only saving grace of this cabinet of freaks and curiosities is that they are so absolutely inept and vile. But this is the other thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about this. When we were on the Anti-Fascist Book Club earlier in the day, that to know, I mean, the first chapter is about don't obey in advance. And I'm talking about Timothy Schneider's book on tyranny. And if you haven't read it, please do. It's a guide. It's got to be our Bible for fighting tyranny in this time. And it starts with don't obey in advance. And it compares it compares of what we're going through to other periods in histories where countries fell to authoritarianism. And what Timothy Schneider writes is that the regime will start to, of course, try to push and destroy the institutions and whatnot, but you don't have to comply. And if they do it initially to see just how far they can go, what's acceptable, how far they can push, how much they can push initially. But unfortunately, with what we're dealing with, these masters of the universe, the billionaires who you think would have FU money, complied. They obeyed in advance. All you had to do was stick together, right? That's what I say at the end of every show. We stick together, we win. But it's people like us, right? It's this show. It's Hal's show. It's Mike Malloy. It's Robin Kincaid. It's people like us who are standing up. John Fugelsang. Speaking truth to power and not complying. I mean, I don't know what they could do a lot to me, and I wondered, what would I do? I often think, and I honestly, I have to say, I mean, it would suck, but oh well. I've had a life, I lived a life. I'm 57 years old. I've lived. I guess I'll have to. I don't know. Like Timothy Schneider says, we either stand up to fascism or we. How does he put it? It's really something about if either we are willing to die for liberty or we will. No, wait. Either we fight. Oh God, I'm fucking butchering it. Or we die under tyranny. Or either. Hold on. Let me play this while I look that up. Because it's a good quote. I totally wrecked it.
And for being able and willing to go to the streets and to cover what's happening here in America. Many times the legacy media has looked the other way, refused to tell the stories. The networks have not really focused on what this is and what damage it is doing to our country, and how this network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years.
Wow.
And today is the day that we have a president that won't tolerate it and will stand up and fight for the American people. So thank you for being here, for being so bold, and for standing in the gap at such a time as this. It will matter. It will make a difference, and your life will be one of significance because of what you've done today. So with that, God bless you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
God bless you, and thank you, Mr. President. Oh my God. And these are horrible people. I'm sure you saw the other clip of her. What was that one? Where she's like, oh, well, they suck, and we're great, and they hate God, and we got God, and we will win, and we love God. Well, they suck. Kristi Noem. These people have no shame. She's somebody that's sleeping with Corey Lewandowski, right? Think about that. Think about what that takes. He's also married, right? Well, they suck, and we're great, and here. And this is Benny Johnson, the Kremlin-funded so-called influencer.
There be ICE enforcement at the Super Bowl?
There will be, because the Department of Homeland Security is responsible for keeping it safe. So I have the responsibility for making sure everybody goes to the Super Bowl, has the opportunity to enjoy it and to leave, and that's what America is about. So yeah, we'll be all over that place. And we're going to enforce the law. So I think people should not be coming to the Super Bowl unless they're law-abiding Americans
who love
this country.
And your message to the NFL with this decision? It seems like they were trying to send a message to the Trump administration.
Well, they suck, and we'll win, and God will bless us, and
God will bless us.
We'll be proud of ourselves at the end of the day, and they won't be able to sleep at night.
Really?
Because they don't know what they believe, and they're so weak.
They're so weak.
We'll fix it.
Thank you.
They're so weak.
What is your message to the NFL? What is your message to Bad Bunny?
How dare they, really? They suck, and, God will bless us by what? Tearing America apart? I know she doesn't believe that. She doesn't believe it because she knows she's a liar. Here's the quote. If none of us is prepared to die for freedom, then all of us will die for tyranny. Die under tyranny. See, I butchered it again. If none of us is prepared to die for freedom, then all of us will die under tyranny. That sent chills down my spine when I read that for the first time. It's so true. Let me see. What's going on in the chat? Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. See, we got some great moderators here. Jim, not some. We got all great moderators. Jim and Redfoot, thank you for being a moderator. Yeah. So you guys support killing Charlie Kirk here? Yeah, bitch. That's what we're saying. Don't you? Aren't they tedious? I know. So I can't help myself sometimes when I see that you deleted a message. Jim, I'm like, and Redfoot. I'm like, oh God, I can't help myself. Let me see what happened here. Yes, well, that's what. We're the only ones that actually give a shit about Charlie Kirk here. You know, we're in the country that we are trying to create. Charlie Kirk would still be alive, right? They don't give a shit about Charlie Kirk. They dance on his grave. They use his death as another political, pawn, another political thing that they can that they can use to advance their blood-soaked agenda. They don't give a... That's what's so ironic. They don't care about Charlie Kirk. Not that... I mean, I never cared about him. I thought he was a horrible person. He had horrible views, but certainly didn't call for him to be murdered, of course. That's awful. But in the world that we are trying to create, he would still be alive. He wouldn't have been murdered. He'd be able to speak his pukey, bile, disgusting opinions, and so would we, and we'd be able to live in a world where young people don't have access to guns. They aren't grown up. They aren't brought up with a bunch of Republicans who teach them how to shoot, and that's a great hobby for them. They love weapons. They love shooting people. Going to fight. That's what they... I mean, their kids... their parents took this kid to gun ranges his entire life. What do you expect? Sickness. It's a sickness. And you hang out with Republicans, you start thinking that, I guess, that violence is an answer. This is what they're taught. This is what they say. These are the ones that are going on about Second Amendment remedies and whatnot. We don't talk about that. We talk about... We have... Our remedy is called an election. They never... that's not what Republicans say. They have this twisted view of the Second Amendment, as if the founders fought a revolution to escape the intergenerational aristocracy and monarchy and create a country founded and inspired by the liberal age of enlightenment, where they promote the general welfare, e pluribus unum, and all that, and that they would just put a mechanism into the Constitution that would tell their, the citizens, if you don't like what your elected leaders do, just shoot them. It's the stupidest thing. You want to play with a weapon? Go join the National Guard. That's the well-regulated militia. I was in the National Guard. What's your excuse? No, they don't want to do that. They don't want to sacrifice their time, their precious little time. They want to just pretend they're tough guys. They don't want to have to work on their PT or anything, They're just so full of shit. So you support killing Charlie Kirk? Where do you get that from, dum-dum? See, that's why. That's the reason why I shouldn't even click on those messages is because they're not... It's just complete trolling, too. They don't give a shit about Charlie Kirk, and they're not even trying to have an actual conversation. They bring nothing to the table. They offer nothing to a conversation. You see, they never... No one is opposed to alternative views. If you have an alternative view, post it. We'll talk about it. But they don't want to do that. They just want to drink our tears, right? They just want to trigger and say stupid things. Oh, you want to kill Charlie Kirk? No. Oh, well, you want to hit Paul Pelosi over the head with a hammer, don't you? You thought that was real fucking funny, didn't you? Then you had that Halloween costume that Trader Tot put up there. Real laugh riot. Oh, the Minnesota reps that were murdered by the Trumpanzee. You loved that, didn't you? You loved when that happened. That was a Second Amendment remedy, wasn't it? These people have nothing to offer. We're here trying to make sure or at least hoping and helping and trying to make the country work for more than just Elon Musk and that baboon he owns. And what do they have? What do they do? They're trying to drink our tears. Because they're not patriots. They hate this country, as we've proven tonight with the receipts. That's the receipts that I brought tonight of how Republicans would rather make up a threat, make up an entire domestic terrorist organization than actually remedy the problems that we face. They have no ideas. They're not. Why aren't they having a meeting, a special task force on, let's say, Trader Trump's concept of an idea for a health care plan? Right? They're not. They had to call a meeting for this fucking made-up group. And then we have to hear, if trust me, if there were Antifa members and it was a domestic terrorist group, they would parade them all over Fox News. They don't even have any footage. Where's this girl? The girlfriend of the so-called co-founder of an idea that fascism sucks. We had an Antifa, an entire army. The Supreme Allied Commander, Eisenhower, he was in charge of the entire Antifa army at one time. In fact, being Antifa is a patriotic imperative. It's called being an American patriot. But because they're fascists, because they turn, they're calling us fascists, so that means people are they're trying to murder us. No one's trying to murder them. They're trying to murder us with their filthy lies. That's what they're doing. Everything's Antifa. Everything's Antifa. That's what and they say, they're going to kill us. They're going to destroy us. Then you turn the camera around, there's a guy in a chicken suit. And young people dancing in T-Rex costumes and whatnot. These scums, not only do they hate America, they're confused by America. Because there's something fundamentally wrong with them. That's why they have to pretend to love Jesus. Because they're sick and suffering. It's like Trader Trump. He's, his mommy didn't like him. His daddy hated him. And, yes. So he's got issues. He's fucked up. He's just a sick person. And it will never be enough. He's not strong. That's what is so amazing, how these right-wingers debase themselves. My God, debase themselves for this unfit baboon who is an embarrassment to humanity, a waste of human DNA. Well, listen, that is not the end of the show, but it is the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show. So come on over to youtube.com/cfachannel/Tarabuster to watch to watch more show. Listen. We will win. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for all you do. Check out Charlie's channel, the classics channel, the classical music channel, and the oldies channel. And thank you, Charlie. We will win. What else? Become a patron. Or I'm running out of the time yet. Yes, become a patron. Patreon.com/Devlin. Thank you all, really, for hanging out tonight. We're here every Friday night, and at 8:30 Eastern time. And hopefully there'll be more shows, more Tarabusters during the week. And if you can, please subscribe to my Substack. I'm trying to build the Substack to make it something good. And you know what I'm gonna do? I swear. What's the weather gonna be? I'm just looking for a day where I want to go, and you guys know I go to I live near Calvary Cemetery in Queens, which is the largest cemetery, or one of the largest cemeteries in the United States. It's an amazing cemetery. I don't know about you, but I like cemeteries. To me, they're very peaceful, and I like going around and looking at the graves and thinking about the people who lived and the times they lived in. And this cemetery has graves that go back to the 1700s. It's one of the oldest cemeteries in the United States. I'm not kidding, over 1 million people are buried there. Isn't that unreal? Think about that. And it's there is I should have brought the book out. It's in my bedroom, but there's so many. It's like a walk in history. There's a person who's buried there. His name is Peter Welsh. He died in the Civil War. And I came across his grave one time when I was just walking around, and it really touched me, because sometimes I'll go around and I'll look up the people and see if there's anything about them. But this particular grave had a more interesting marker. It looked a little newer, but it had more about who this person was. He was the color guard for the Irish Brigade in the Civil War, and died at I believe it was, I have to look it up, I think it was Spotsylvania. He didn't die there. He got he got wounded, and he died a couple of weeks later. It's really tragic, because he wrote his wife that he was okay, don't worry, he got wounded, but he's okay. And by the time she made it to the hospital, he had passed away from infection, which was common back then, unfortunately, before antibiotics. And his wife compiled a book of his letters to both herself and his father, and it's really it is heartbreaking, because he writes about how it's his duty to he joined the military. He signed up with the Union on a whim, or without his wife knowing, let's say. And then he wrote, I had to do it, that he owes a debt to the United States, that America has to last, because of it really is the last hope of freedom on earth and all that. And when you think about the patriotism of this Irish immigrant who gave his last full measure of devotion on the battlefield, trying to save this country from conservatives, okay? That's what happened. Conservatives once again rose up and tried to overthrow the country, or at least separate themselves, because they wanted to own other human beings for the worst cause that anyone ever took up arms against anyone, to enslave other people. That's why they have to rewrite it into this lost cause narrative. Oh, it's states' rights. Yeah, the states' rights to own other human beings. But, so on my Substack, what I want to do is, for the subscribers, go to the, maybe visit the grave and then read some of the book and whatnot. I thought that might be a good idea, because it's kind of an obscure book, and if you go, it's not really in print. But I think that might be nice. And there's other places in the cemetery that we can go and maybe remember some of these men who died for our country. And that's why we fight, I believe, for their sacrifice. So it's not in vain. Honestly, that's why I do it. And you guys know me. There's a few others in there that we've already talked about many times, like First Lieutenant Alfred Inzarelli, who's buried there. And maybe we'll save that for another time, because I'll start breaking down, talking about it. But Yes, so subscribe to my Substack. So, yeah, we can do that before it gets too cold. That might be nice. What do you think? All right, so I'm running out of time. This is what always happens. I go on a tangent. I have many things on the list. I got to get more, like, I got to get tighter in the breakdown of these, you know. Hey, it is what it is. It's a Tarabuster. What can you say, right? But what I want to talk about, too, where's the other thing I have on the list? I really want to talk about Marjorie Taylor Green and her suddenly seeing the light with in regard to healthcare. In a way, it's almost weird, right? So for those who don't know, Marjorie Taylor Green, who I like to call Marjorie Taylor Green for obvious reasons, she's broken with the Republican Party. So we're in a shutdown, another distraction from the fact that Trader Trump shared wonderful, quote unquote, what he called wonderful secrets with a convicted pedophile for 20 years. He's in the Epstein files. He allegedly raped children. And they all know it. Pam Bondi knows it. They all know it. And it's coming out. Eventually, it will come out. I wonder, will that be the last straw for MAGAts? Probably not. That's why he was, a couple of months ago, he was saying how it was AI. He said he's setting it up. And thank you, J.D. Christie, for your super chat. Profanity bonus. Uh-oh. We got more MAGAts in the chat? Yeah. Let me see. Wrong. Thank you. I'm just, let's see, I shouldn't do this. Says she wants discussion, but mods bad disagreement. Ban. Where are you disagreeing? You're just being a dick. Right? Where's your discussion? What are you saying? You're not saying anything that's not abusive. So, is that a discussion? What are we discussing? No, Trader Trump is not in the Epstein files. He's not. He didn't share wonderful secrets with a pedophile. He's not doing all this bullshit to distract from that fact, and doesn't give a shit. He wants people to suffer. He'll burn this country down to distract from the Epstein files. The fact that he is in the Epstein files. What did he do? You know, everyone who surrounded Jeffrey Epstein, they all knew what he was up to. Like, what's that guy? Lutnick. Was it Lutnick who said that? He was a blackmailer, and Nutlick, whatever his name is. And they all know that. Of course, Trump, all the women who have come out and said that he raped them or sexually assaulted them, including E. Jean Carroll, that sued him in front of a jury, had to see the evidence, and, a jury of his peers saw all the evidence, heard the rebuttals and whatnot, and deemed him guilty. What is it about MAGAts that they just don't see the light? What is it about this horrible human being, this con man, who shared wonderful secrets, quote unquote, with a pedophile, that they can't let go of? He doesn't give a shit about you. Clearly. Look at the way they fire people. A lot of pain. Oh, yeah, we're going to cause a lot of pain to people. How come he never talks like that about billionaires, you dumb bastard? Because don't you ever get sick of being played, maggot? That's what I wonder. Don't you ever get sick of it? What is it? Is hate that intoxicating for you? Do you hate other people that much? Trans people, gay people, black people, Latino, anyone different? Is the hate that that, worth it. Because you got to be getting something out of it. Is it the self-loathing? A lot of MAGAts, not just MAGAts, but, Republicans, regular old Republicans, like Mike Johnson, seem pretty gay to me. They hate themselves. I always say, I wish that Republicans would simply get the help they need and stop inflicting their manias on society. Like J.D. Vance, who wrote in his book that he didn't think that he quite fit into gender norms. That's what he wrote. I didn't write that. So when you take these maybe moments of honesty and then you kind of look at it through the lens of his behavior today, how he wants men to act like this and women to act like that, and he's, walking around with eyeliner, and he is such a scold when it comes to what people should do. It makes a lot of sense that what he's doing is projecting his self-loathing onto the world. It's right out of Freud. It's right out of Psych 101. Why you always see these people who are, so anti-gay, and then they get caught in the act of being themselves in some restroom somewhere because they're filled with shame. You don't have to do that your whole life. I mean, we're here for this little blip of time. How sad it is to be a right-wing dupe your whole life. What a waste of life. To be a con man's dupe, to be a right-wing dupe, to be self-loathing. Be gay. It's like Benny Johnson. We did this on the show, or was it on, I think it was something I did on Substack, where, he found out about targeted ads. Because he put this ad up that had, it was from military.com or Military Times, and there was a gay cruise ad on it. He's like, oh, look at this on the Military Times right now. Well, Benny, you're seeing that ad because you want to go on a gay cruise. It's called a targeted ad. That's how Google runs. You're seeing things that you're looking for. It feeds you. It serves you up things it thinks you're interested in based on your search history. You were probably looking at gay stuff, which is quite fine. It's fine. And I don't know about you, but he kind of pulls, triggers my gaydar. So go on a gay cruise. Don't waste your life being and this is why he's so hateful and is what do you call it? He's all about, talks about Jesus and all this shit. He hates Jesus. If Jesus came back, he'd crucify him again. He'd be part of that whole cabal. They'd crucify him right away. Oh, that's for sure. Look at what they're talking about the Pope. Whenever they're all these holy rollers, but it's like fascism. That they're fascists. You're only free within the bounds that they have set out for you. So now the Pope he's woke. No, he's just trying to not be a dick, and I guess you can't help it. Right? How about love thy neighbor? How about if someone slaps you across the cheek, you turn the other cheek? Isn't that what the Savior you pretend to worship told you to do? I'm not making it up. He said, give your money to the poor and follow him. That's what he told you to do. He didn't tell you to sell Trump coin and Bitcoin and all this other fucking bullshit, or sell a Bible for $99, a piece of shit Bible. That Bible cost about 99 cents to make. Oh yeah, no fault divorce. Mike hates that shit. And that his wife, thank you, the enemy within on the chat, his wife ran a gay conversion therapy, some kind of group or something, or some kind of center, some psych center for gay conversion therapy, which is abuse. So maybe he was a client. I'm not only her husband, I'm a client. Do you think, when you look at Mike Johnson, do you think that you could imagine him coming home to his wife and being like, come on, baby, you know, like just really getting into it with her? I doubt it. Come on. He doesn't exactly strike me as heterosexual, that's all. And there is a guy out there who says that he's had sex with him, right? The guy with the Grindr profile. He gave his... We'll see. More will be revealed. He gave his information to some journalist to vet it, and I don't know. It was on the internet, so it's got to be true. It was on the internet. But all right, where is Marjorie Taylor Green? Where is she? Let's see. Well, here's the thing. Let's see. Marjorie Taylor Green, healthcare. Where is it? So she's breaking with her party. The reason why I bring this up is,
good morning. Always great to have you.
Is just another example of that, and this is something that I'm not hearing on the corporate media as usual, because they never connect the dots. They never frame it the way it needs to be framed, because Republicans, it's really fucked up that they're so selfish, and frankly, I'm sick of it. Let's see.
Entrenched in their previous positions that basically...
Let's fast forward.
This issue. You actually spoke with her one-on-one. What did you learn?
Yeah, it was a pretty wide-ranging interview, Joe, and if we thought that she was going to back away from those comments that she made on social media from the night before, we were definitely wrong. She doubled down. She truly believes that her party is handling this situation incorrectly. She believes that healthcare is a real crisis in this country, and the time to talk about it is now. Listen to what she told me.
This is the #1 issue I hear about in my district. Health insurance premiums are unaffordable, not only for people on the ACA, but also families, maybe small business owners that buy their own health insurance. And with the cost of living today, I think it's reached a boiling point. I am personally against the government shutdown. I really want to be doing appropriations. I believe in that process. That's our job, bringing taxpayer dollars back to our districts that help our communities, roads, water projects, you name it.
And a couple of other ways that she's breaking with her party on this particular issue. She disagrees with Speaker Mike Johnson. She thinks the House should be in session right now negotiating this issue. She also thinks that the Senate, if they can pass judges with a straight party line vote, should also be able to vote on a straight party line vote to open up the government, suggesting they should go nuclear, as it says, and break the filibuster to get the government back open.
How is it that Marjorie Taylor Green becomes the voice of reason here? It's a little bit weird, but here's the thing. This is what annoys me, and no one is talking about this with her and the other Republicans. She sees the light when it affects her. She said that her adult children had come to her, I guess, and they were complaining to their mother, who is in the Congress, that their insurance is going to go up thousands of dollars. First of all, this is an abomination. We shouldn't pay for health care in this country. Like every other place on earth, it should be a right of citizenship, not a privilege of wealth. Only in America do people get sick and don't go to the doctor because they can't afford it. That's why over 35,000, I think it went up. I should look up the latest stats, but it's going to get worse because of the big ugly bill. But 35,000 Americans needlessly die every year because they can't afford health care. Needlessly die. Because they choose not to go to the doctor because they can't afford it. And we all have stories. Only in America do people have to beg on GoFundMe for health care. Now, Obamacare was supposed to chip away at that. The reason Obamacare sucks is, if the MAGAts are still in the chat somewhere, the reason it sucks is because it's the Republican health care plan. Shame on Obama for doing that, of course, but this is who he was. Obama was a great Republican president. He really was. He was probably the best Republican president we've had since Eisenhower. He was notorious for spitting back Republican policies right back at them. And they had already come up and concocted that caucus room conspiracy. So they decided that in the midst of a crisis, here's another example exactly about how much Republicans hate this country and they don't give a shit about the people they pretend to represent. On the night of Obama's election, they met at the caucus room in Washington, and they hatched a plan to block Obama from doing anything, that they would do even their own policies they would block. They would cause what they called legislative constipation, that they were going to be an insurgency like the Taliban, that's their words, not mine, to stop Obama from having any successes, which would piss the people off so much that they would vote Republican. Now, not in a time, not like when not in the economy that Obama handed Trader Trump the first time, or the economy that Biden handed the baboon, which was a great economy. I don't care how much he says this filthy fascist lies and says, oh, it was a nightmare, I was handed the Depression. No, you forget, baboon, no offense to baboons, that Trader Trump left Biden the worst jobs record since Herbert Hoover. And America in a land of mass graves. Thanks a lot, baboon. And thanks a lot, MAGAts, who voted for that again. How dare you? You know? How sick do you have to be to vote for that again? 1 million dead are not enough. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the show's not over yet. People keep saying it's 20 after the hour. The show goes on until it's 2 hours, my friends. It's still not 2 hours. We got 10 minutes, man. So, yeah. So on the night of Obama's inauguration, they decided to be the Taliban-like insurgency and block the Democrats who won in that election from doing anything to help the American people out of another Republican-created crisis, the second near Republican Great Depression in 100 years. And that's how evil they are, really. They want power, and the power to do exactly what they're doing now, which is to destroy democracy. They don't like democracy. It's too much work. They don't want to have to think about anybody else but themselves. Their pathological selfishness. But, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. The average maggot is just selfish and stupid and easily played because of their cornucopia, the plethora, or plethora. It's like clitoris, right? Clitoris or clitoris. But of issues that they have, that the myriad of bigotries that they have, that Republicans tickle and they grab a hold of those bigotries, and then the average maggot voter will slit their own mother's throats at their command. As long as you hate the same people, let them eat hate. And when they go off on trans people, oh, they want trans for everyone, the baboon says. Trans for everyone. I mean, are you that stupid? Right? Are you that stupid to fall for that? While guess what? The baboon, no offense to baboons, is $3 billion richer in the last 8 months. How about you? Huh? How about you, maggot? You think he cares about you? You think he's thinking about you? Oh my God. Well, anyway. Yeah, so that's what Republicans did the first time. You know, they block. So this is why why Obamacare sucks, is because it is the Republican health care plan. It's something, right? Because I remember before Obamacare, that's the world I had to live in. As a freelancer, my adult life, for the most part, it's been an absolute nightmare getting insurance before Obamacare. I didn't have insurance for years and years and years and years. If I got sick, I would have to go find a car accident somewhere and crawl inside the back seat, try to get health care. You know? Because that's how it works in this fucked up country. I couldn't get health care. I couldn't get insurance. It was too much money. You pay unless you go, and that's the thing. If you're working, this country, it's just it's just bullshit. You get your health insurance from your job is the stupidest thing, and it's also not freedom. I mean, you would think a maggot would understand this, that if you can't leave a job because you need the health care, you're not free. And then you would hear stories, and we would all hear them and see them, about people who got kicked off when they got sick. That's what happened. I mean, I should get Wendell Potter on the show, who used to work for Aetna, I believe it was. And he became a whistleblower after he was sick of it, sick of watching them kill people, kill a child. That was the last straw, where they killed a child. Oh, yeah, make no mistake. It was the insurance company that killed this kid. Because it was greed. You know, their first move, and if there's somebody that gets actually sick, something that needs care, they don't get rich paying for claims. They get rich denying care. So they got to come up with a way to kick you off. So for-profit healthcare is an abomination. It is a moral outrage. So how much longer are we going to take it? It's like when I'm not saying that people, should kill people, but that's why when that CEO was murdered, no one really gave a shit. It wasn't like people, and I'm saying don't kill anybody, please. But, because that was wrong. Killing is wrong. But nobody was shocked for one thing, and it wasn't like Princess Diana died. No one really, there was no weeping and moaning and, why always the good ones? That's why. And everyone, it wasn't just Democrats or people who had experience with the disgusting for-profit health racket. It was everyone, because everybody has a story. So that's what Obamacare was supposed to remedy, except when that effing Joe Lieberman, who is now burning in hell, stopped the public option because his wife was some kind of fucking insurance racketeer. Do you see what I'm saying? These selfish pricks. And yes, Lieberman was supposedly a Democrat, but he was just as bad. God help us. Oh my God. These fucking people. And in all of our history that we've shared, we've had so many opportunities to make a better decision. And we've had these horrible people standing in the way because of their selfishness, like Joe Lieberman, how many people did he kill because he blocked a public option? And that would have been amazing. All right, keep the for-profit racketeers, but let them actually compete. But of course, the MAGAts, who were teabaggers at the time, couldn't have that because they want to use the American people as hosts from which to suck profit and discard. But anyway, as my point with Marjorie Taylor Green is that so I guess her kids, I'm glad she's finally seeing the light. That's good. And it's shocking, but I appreciate her vote on the Epstein files, releasing the Epstein files. Good. I hope when she sees that traitor Trump raped children, she continues to see the light and atones. And I appreciate that. Good for her. Good for her. And I appreciate her being a voice of reason when it comes to now she wants that we have to do something about health care. Well, what are you going to do, Marjorie Taylor Green? There's only a few things we can do. And one of them was what Obama did. And the reason Obamacare sucks is because Republicans, because everybody's like, oh, it's too expensive. Before I had Obamacare, my insurance was $200 a month or some bullshit. Well, that's because it wasn't actually insurance. You try getting sick and then going to the hospital and see what they pay for. These insurance plans didn't have prescriptions, they didn't have hospitalization, they didn't have preventative care. That's why they were cheap. And you don't find out until you actually need it. This was the problem. And then the American people picked up the tab because people would have to end up on Medicare. That's what happened. But in order to keep the insurance racketeers, the for-profit, sucks to be you, I got mine, your money or your life, insurance racketeers in power, Obamacare, and make it affordable for the American people. The American people were paying the insurance racketeers to insure them. You see, with something called the risk corridors, which is a stupid thing. I don't know why it's called that, because Democrats don't know how to message. And what happened? Nobody knows about this. Maybe we do because we're informed. But Marco Rubio, I don't know why people don't know this, okay? And why they don't talk about it on the corporate media. Think about that. We talk about it on this show. But Marco Rubio, I'm just looking it up how he did it. I don't remember. But he single-handedly destroyed these risk corridors and made Obamacare expensive. And the fact that people don't know that is a failure of the corporate media. If I Googled it right now, there's footage of him on shows at the time bragging about it. Because everybody hated Obamacare at the time. But now, as we predicted, people really want it. They need even Marjorie Taylor Green. Because people don't want to go back to the bad old days where they kicked you off when you got sick, where they denied you health care, where you couldn't get it, where you couldn't get insurance at all, where they went through your entire history and they said, well, we can insure you, but not these pre-existing conditions. What kind of bullshit is that? You know, all over the world, there's healthcare plans. In fact, Switzerland has a very similar healthcare plan as Obamacare, and where you have to buy private insurance, except it's not for profit. We're the only country that has for-profit healthcare, where monstrosities who sit in executive suites come up with ways to deny people health care. They get very rich telling their fellow Americans, I'm sorry, we're not going to pay. We're not going to pay for your cancer treatment. It's for whatever reason. You know, that's what that guy, that's what he did. One of the things he did, he came up with some AI that would automatically deny 80% of the claims. Well, listen, hold on. I'm going to do a little bit more. That's the end of the show. but I'm not quite finished because I have to. I just want to tell you what I'm thinking. We're going to take another 10 minutes. Yes, this is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Check out Charlie's channel, apsradionews.com. You can hear the classical channel and the oldies channel. I think that's great. And become a subscriber to my Substack. Become a patron. Patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Thank you. All right, I'm going to lower this. Thank you guys for hanging out. And we are here every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. And yeah. All right, what I wanted to say. Yes, so, yeah, look, I looked it up. Marco Rubio played a significant role in restricting the funding mechanisms for the Affordable Care Act, which was designed, and what it says, the Risk Corridor program, which was designed to stabilize health insurance premiums when the ACA was first implemented. And why don't we give him credit? Why don't they give him credit now? What, is there a statute of limitations on telling the truth about these MAGAts? I guess so. I guess that's what the corporate media think. But people need to know this. They're like, why is it so expensive? Well, connect the dots. I'm telling you right here why it's expensive. It's because Rubio and the Republicans fucked us, as they always do. Because they don't care that 35,000 Americans needlessly die every year without health care. They don't care that the American people are the only people that have to beg on the side of the internet superhighway. They have to stand with a sign and say, please, I need my medicine. Please, I have cancer. How sick is that? You know, when you get sick, that's the last thing you want to do. When you're sitting in the doctor's office getting a terrible, catastrophic diagnosis, it's the worst moment of your life. Your life is flashing before your eyes. You're wondering, how am I going to get through? How am I going to tell my kids? How much time do I have? Am I going to survive? And you got to worry, who's going to make my videos when I'm getting my chemo treatment and when I'm sick, maybe when my husband is carrying me to the bathroom in the middle of the night because I'm too weak to move? Will I get somebody to film it so I can make my videos and go and make my viral campaign on GoFundMe? You know, you got to get those moments when you're sick, when you're puking. You have to be fearless. Because people want to see that. You got to pull their heartstrings, because the majority of the campaigns on GoFundMe never reach their goal. So you really want to stand out with your viral campaign of begging for health care in America. Maybe when you're losing your hair and shit, you just gotta, when you're looking really gaunt and you just can't keep any food down, get that all on video. People might respond. Because that's what you want to do when you're sick, right? You got to think about how you're going to, then what are you going to do? You turn it into TikToks, maybe format it for different venues, YouTube, Twitch. You got to, oh, hi, Junior. Here comes my kitty. Tara Jr., the producer. Right? I mean, who wants to think of that shit? Because when you're sick, you don't want to have to come up with a viral video campaign. And that's what it is, exactly. Handy girl. They don't want sick people in the system. That's it. They want you dead. Like that, who was that guy back in the day? Don't get sick, and if you do, die quickly. That's the Republican health care plan. That's the concept of a plan. Jesus Christ. Yep. Theresa Ray says they're going to outlaw Tylenol now. So we'll have no relief at all. Exactly. Tylenol. These people they're fucked up, man. That's my astute political observation. They're fucked up. They need help. Okay, and as far as, and this one I want to point out about Marjorie Taylor Green. Good on her for seeing the light. Great. Congrats. You're welcome to the human race, lady, for a minute. I'm sure you're not going to stick around long, but okay. But it's a shame that Republicans only see the light when something affects them directly. You know, that's what pisses me off. That's a moral failing. You know, these are the same people that we always got to hear about how Christian they are. Marjorie Taylor Green, every Christian holiday, every Easter, every Christ is risen. We got to hear. They all wear these giant crosses. They really wear it on their sleeves, their Christianity, but I never see it, you know, in their behavior. You shouldn't have to, you shouldn't have to ask, are you Christian? They shouldn't have to tell you. It should be obvious, don't you think? Like, for example, when I was in the military, when I was in the National Guard, I didn't have to be taught this because I'm not a baboon, but they said when you're in uniform, you are the ambassador. You're acting as ambassadors for the country. So you have to be on your best behavior. Think about that. Think about that and think about what we're dealing with, right? It's a goddamn disgrace. It's sickening. But I didn't have to be told that because I respect my country. I respect my fellow Americans. I was proud to have that flag on my shoulder. I didn't want to disgrace my country, you know? I didn't want to give my country a bad name. I thought better of my country and myself. And I don't understand how that's such a concept. Hold on a second. I'm getting a beach bowl. But anyway, Marjorie Taylor Green, I don't get it. That, and I'm talking about, you know, her Christianity. If she's the ambassador of her Christianity, she's always telling us how Christian she is, and she's always got, and they all have their crosses on, but they're always acting like, you know, like people who are filled with hate. And that's why I always talk about with MAGAts. They come on our channel here and they're like, oh, we're not trying to hurt these people. We want them to have health care. We're trying to get them health care, just like all the MAGAts. And that's what pisses me off. It is a failure of the Democratic Party's messaging that the people don't know that. Like the woman who called up Mike Johnson, that's another thing. I'm sure you heard about her. There was a woman who called Mike Johnson and he was on C-SPAN, and she said her husband's in the military and her children are sick and they have special needs and her children could die because of this government shutdown, because of them taking health care away. And I just thought, what a shame. Oh, and she mentioned she was Republican. That's why I thought, what a shame that she, you know, where's the gratitude, lady? You know, why are you voting Republican? Why do people not understand that they keep voting for their own demise, right? Why are you voting for these people? I'm a Republican. Why? You have kids with special needs. And the Republicans, they never have the manners, the decency, the maturity to say thanks, Dems. Thanks. They can't even call us by our name, right? They call us the Democrat Party. That's another thing that drives me up a wall, and everybody that watches the show knows it. It's just ridiculous. You can't say thanks, right? Is that how you thank? That's how you thank, Biden and Obama and everyone that tried to throw you lifelines, and your kids lifelines. You vote for the party that does fuck all for you and everybody else. Because why? You hate trans people that much? Is that it? Well, your kids can rest assured when they're sick that at least a trans person will have to hold it all the way until they get home. They can't use a public restroom. You congratulations. You fucking morons. Excuse my language, but it's late. Oh my lordy. Yeah, so she saw the light. She said, wait, I'm trying to find the tweet itself about what she said about her children. Let me see. Where is the tweet? No. Marjorie. I'm asking the AI to find me the tweet. Sometimes it's just useless, as you know. If you use AI, I use it a lot, but you have to really... I use it for research, but you also have to be very careful because it lies to you, and you have to double check it. It's really fucked up. Let's see. Tweet about daughters. And sometimes it just won't do things. It's very bizarre. Yes, she says, where is it? I was not in Congress when all this Obamacare, Affordable Care Act bullshit started. I got here in 2021. Well, that after trying to overthrow the government and begging for a pardon, but okay. As a matter of fact, the ACA made health insurance unaffordable, and I explained why. You stupid bitch. She doesn't know this, I guess, even though she's part of the representatives who have to vote on it, and she voted for the big ugly bill, and that, she basically threw her own children over a cliff. And you see what I'm saying? How she says it made insurance unaffordable. Where's the Democratic response to that? Has anyone heard Democrats respond and say, well, yeah, it made insurance unaffordable thanks to Marco Rubio's destroying the risk corridors? No, nobody says anything. Not the corporate media, not the pundits that get paid millions of dollars while I'm here saying, please become a patron and all that. And right? I don't know about you guys, but does that drive you as insane as it drives me? There's no excuse for the fact that people don't know that. It's the truth. Why don't people know that? That Marco Rubio destroyed the risk corridors, and that's what made Obamacare unaffordable, as well as the fact that there is no public option. That's the other thing. Yeah. The risk corridor program was a measure under the ACA that helped insurance companies absorb unexpected losses during the first few years of the exchanges, where they were required to onboard sick people. So the government was paying for sick people. It wasn't going to end either. That's the other thing. But Marco Rubio fucked it. He ruined it. He got rid of it. The government would reimburse the insurance companies using funds collected, and taxpayer funds, and stuff that could have went to a public option too. It was to maintain stability. Marco Rubio spearheaded a legislative provision quietly added to a spending bill, not even, it wasn't even about health care, that mandated that the risk corridor payments be budget neutral. This meant that the government could only pay out what it received from profitable insurers, preventing the use of other federal funds, saying, just cutting us all off at the knees. As a result, the insurers only received a fraction of what they expected. And of course, they passed on the costs to you and me. He touted this move, Rubio, as saving taxpayers $2 billion by preventing a bailout of what he called a bailout. It wasn't a bailout. It was the foundation of the ACA that made it affordable for people. But this is what Republicans do, They're very crafty. They're very good at bullshit and triggering people. They tickle those racist funny bones. They use all the focus-tested Frank Luntz talking points that make people, ugh, right? They know, because that's all they have. They have nothing in reality to boast about. They don't have anything. What have they ever done for the American people besides hurt the American people? They hurt Americans on so many levels. Not just physically. They hurt the American people morally, spiritually, sexually. Whenever they have a chance. That's the truth. Release the Epstein files. Let's see. Pay E. Jean Carroll, baboon. You owe her. You filthy fascist fuck. Excuse my language. I was making it a New Year's resolution not to curse on the show. Haven't I been saying that for as long as the show has been on? Yep. The underfunding of the risk corridor payments contributed to rising premiums and the collapse of several insurers, demonstrating how a technical budget provision could have far-reaching effects on health policy. Well, that's just your life. Oh, well. What does he give a shit? That's Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. It's all working out for him, ain't it? Except he has to sit there and go, sir. You disgusting disgrace. Right? He's a disgrace. Just a few years ago, he was like, Trump is a con man. He told the truth about Trump. Trump's a con man. He's a grifter. Yeah, he's right. But the thing that irritated me, and I'll wrap it up now. I see everybody's like, I'm tired. I am tired too. But you know how it is. But I'll just read the rest of this tweet. It made it unaffordable for my family after it was passed with skyrocketing premiums. I'm sorry. Once again, Democrats. Why don't people know that why ACA is unaffordable? Okay, let's just say as nicely as possible, I'm not a fan, because she has to say that because she's a MAGAt, but I'm going to go against everyone. What's not the fan, bitch? You want people to be insured, right? You want to go back to kicking people off when they're sick, no pre-existing conditions protections, the fact that you could only pay a certain amount out of pocket, and that they covered things like, preventative, prescriptions, things that weren't available in insurance plans before, unless you paid for it and paid through the nose. Republicans don't give a shit. See, this is what annoys me about the ACA too, is that it doesn't cover everyone. And Democrats boast about it. Well, we cover more than ever, which is great, but it also cultivates this, notion that we shouldn't give a shit that millions are still left behind. We should all be appalled that millions are left behind. And the Democrats should run on everybody in, nobody out. That's the only American value. What's wrong with that? Doesn't that ring true when you say it? Everyone in, no one out. That's why FDR made Social Security belong to everyone. So, as he said, no damn politician can scrap it. Well, everyone in, nobody out. If we had everyone in, nobody out of the ACA, we wouldn't be going through this bullshit. Right? But this is what happens. Republicans don't fucking care. I cannot take how much they have dragged us all through this bullshit. This is our lives they're fucking with. All the time. All the time. They don't give a shit about people. They won't just leave us alone and do their jobs. Make the trains run on time, god damn it. But no. They gotta fuck with us. They gotta say ACA sucks and we're gonna destroy it, and then we're gonna lie to you about it. And we'll go have fun begging on GoFundMe. And then we're gonna tell you Antifa is gonna kill you, even though it doesn't exist. But we're gonna make up a lot of shit. We're gonna capture the girlfriend of the founder. Oh my God. Even though, let's see. There's cameras everywhere. We don't see shit though. Okay, but I'm going to go against everyone on this issue because when the tax credits expire this year, my own adult children's insurance premiums for 2026 are going to double, along with all the wonderful families and hardworking people in my district. No, I am not towing the party line on this or playing loyalty games. I'm a Republican and won't vote for illegals to have any taxpayer-funded health care or benefits because, bitch, they don't. Anyway, okay, she just can't, right? She can't fully become human and not lie for a minute. But, this is just a paragraph. She can't handle it. I'm America only. I'm carving my own lane, and I'm absolutely disgusted that health insurance premiums will double, all caps, if the tax credits expire this year. Also, I think health insurance and all insurance is a scam. Well, you got me there, girl. Just to be clear, not a single Republican in leadership talked about this or has given us a plan to help Americans deal with their health insurance premiums doubling. Again, all caps. And the thing that's irritating is, well, what's your plan, Marjorie Taylor Green? Because that's the plan. Is it to fix Obamacare? Well, maybe. Maybe it's to not take all the mechanisms away like Republicans did. Oh, is my show not recording now? All of a sudden it said it wasn't going. Oh, okay. Now it's back. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Janelle Walker says, the lady who called in on CNN to talk to, was that CNN or C-SPAN, right? I don't know. To talk to Micro Johnson. That's good. Thank God she made him look like poo-poo. Exactly. But, yeah, she was another one, though. That's me. She voted Republican. And now the leopards are eating her face. Unfortunately, this is what we deal with. How about let's all start, and I'm talking to Republicans because we already do this. Start giving a shit about anybody else, everybody else but yourself, right? Think about it. If someone is without health insurance, if someone is sick and can't go to the doctor, that's all of us. We could all be in that predicament, and we don't like that. That's not good. We can do much better than that. We're the richest country on earth. We're rich, but we're poor in so many ways, right? And it's because of Republicans. I hate to say it. It's not just because, like, I have this pathological fixation on Republicans. We're just talking about what's true. Calls it like I sees it. If the Democrats were behaving like this, we'd be talking about that too. And we do call out Democrats. So, but it's yet another example, as Marjorie Taylor Green, seeing the light because her kids are being affected. Her kids will be affected. Not your kids, not anybody else's kids, not kids in general. She don't give a shit about those kids. Those kids, fuck them. She voted to take away their health care, those kids. Millions are going to lose health care because of the big ugly bill. She voted for it. And she'll continue to hurt people. Like, she didn't know this when she voted for the big ugly bill, that it was going to hurt people like this. Oh, and then her kids came to her. So she suddenly got involved. Why were you voting for that? You don't do research? You don't have your staff inform you of the consequences of the bill? You don't care? See, that's what I'm sick of in this country. That's a disease. They just don't care about anybody else but themselves. That's not conducive to a successful society. We have to give a shit about each other. We have to care. Like all of those men who left their last full measure of devotion on the battlefield, on the beaches of Normandy. They did that because it was their duty and they cared, right? I would think. We have to honor their sacrifice by giving a shit back. Oh boy. All right, listen. All right, guys. We're going to go to bed now. We all have to do this at the same time because we do everything together. That's who we are. We're collectivists. So now it's is he going to fall? Stacy says your cat looks like he's going to fall. He's okay. He has done that before, though. One time I was on the show and he fell off the ledge. So, yes, he's okay. That's little Francis. Francis Jr. He's named after Judy Garland. All right, guys. Yes, it's time to go to sleeps. Go to sleep, my baby, my baby. You like my singing? All right. Guys. What is going on in the chat? Everybody's like, it's 11. It's 10:30. All right, my friends. Thank you for hanging out tonight. You're the best. I had a great time. I hope that Hal raids the show every Friday night. That would be amazing. Made you look. Well, either way, it was good to pet the kitty anyway. Poor little Franny. Maybe one day he'll be outside of a cone. It really sucks. I hate that. And because he gets very upset at night sometimes. I guess it gets too much and he wants me to scratch his neck, so I'm like sitting there scratching. All right, my loves. Listen, I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Let me give you some links. Well, they're in the description. Where's my Substack? If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my Substack. If you can, you could subscribe for free. So that's good. You don't have to pay. But if you can, become a paid subscriber. That would be very helpful. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. I got to get those numbers up. So that would be great. So I can be somebody one day. Like everybody else. Like some people are somebody. And I want to be somebody. No, I think there's good stuff coming. So please subscribe to the Substack, because then you can, well, you know, do those things I was talking about. I think that's a good idea. All right, I love you too, Teresa. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I am tired. All right, my loves. And if you are subscribing, then, you know, we can connect during the week and all. And hopefully there'll be more shows on the Political Voices Network, so you can subscribe to them as well. And remember what I tell you. It is true. I will speak the truth and only the truth. That's what I promise. But, and here's the truth. We will win. We will. Why? Because, and thank you, mods. Exactly. Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Redfoot, for being here all these years, being a mod. I can't do it without you. And thank you, Stacy, for your compliment. Stacy says, you are somebody, Tara. Thank you. You're somebody to all of us. And you're somebody to me. And I really appreciate you being here and your support and your kind words. It means a lot. And thank you, Karen, for lurking and listening. Nice to see you there. And I appreciate it. I appreciate your kind words. And yeah, let's stay in touch. So if you subscribe to the Substack, you can, I think it's great because we can stay in touch. Post things. Then you can post, because I do the chat, like the Substack chat, and you can post pictures of, for your, you know, your lives and whatnot. I put up pictures of Spooky and the cats and stuff and other things. All right, I'm tired. Here's the thing. We will win. We will. Because we're on the right side of history. Remember this. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. Guys, remember, thank you for hanging out. We're here every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. My name is Tara Devlin. I appreciate all your support. And I will see you very soon. Oh, and on Hal's show. Hal's been asking me on his show, so that's been great too. So, I'll see you soon.